Thank you. Oh, you guys not gonna say good afternoon back? No? I have to sit here soberly and watch you all drink a beer, so. No, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this hearing on the proposed City Center designated outdoor refreshment area, more commonly referred to as the City Center DORA. This afternoon's agenda is quite simple. We will receive a presentation from our partners at the Downtown Columbus, Inc., and other city partners about the proposal, followed by an opportunity for public testimony and comments. I would like to thank first my colleague, Councilmember White, who is here with us, and thank you for being here. Councilmember, before we go further, did you have any opening comments?
Not really, just wanted to say thank you. I want to applaud you and your staff for all the hard work in putting this together, and obviously the department. It's not easy to host events outside of City Hall, but looks like it's going to be a really well planned out one, so appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, thank you for your support. I also want to thank Director Stevens and our partners in the administration at the Department of Development for their support in putting this hearing together and all the work that they've done behind the scenes to get us to this point. As you can see tonight, we are holding this hearing, as I like to say, in the heart of Franklinton, here at Land Grant Brewing Company, a local small business who will be directly impacted by this proposal should it be approved. My decision to hold this hearing out in the community was intentional, and I am grateful to Adam and his team here at Land Grant for graciously hosting us, but also for all the work that they do in the community. In addition to my colleagues, I also want to give a thank you to, and we have with us present Quentin Harris, who is our Deputy Director of Jobs and Economic Development for the Department of Development. We also have Amy Taylor, the President of Downtown Columbus, Inc., Trent Smith, a good friend and partner at Franklinton Board of Trade, as well as Lisa Diefendiefer, Deputy Director of Operations and Advocacy for the Capitol Crossroads and Discovery Improvement Districts. And last but not least, Adam Benner, President and co-founder of Land Grant Brewing. Before we go any further, Adam, I just want to give you the opportunity to give us a welcome. We are here in your house, and so thank you again for hosting us, and I'll turn it over to you.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, Councilmember Bankston. Really appreciate everyone coming out today. This has been it feels like a long time in the making, but a lot of hard work has gone on behind the scenes, and it's for myself as an operator to be able to be part of developing this DORA. I think it's a great opportunity to really connect the city. I think when we first had the idea, when they changed the law on how many DORAs a city could have, having one down here in Franklinton, we saw the opportunity to really connect what us alcoholic establishments are doing with the art galleries here. And we thought this would be perfect for a Franklinton Friday, coming down here, grabbing a beer from ourselves or our friends Brewdog across the street, or any of the other establishments, and be able to walk to the galleries and really enhance the neighborhood. And as we started talking through it and realizing how big a DORA actually could be, and to be able to connect with across the river, there's always been that kind of divide with us down here in Franklinton at times, but that's really a connection. You can grab a beer here and walk across the river to a lot of great establishments and vice versa, and I think that's something that we're really excited to be a part of, especially this summer with so much happening downtown, and to really connect that. It's something that is going to be really important, as a lot of us beverage alcohol establishments, we're still feeling the effects of what happened a couple years ago. So this is a opportunity to get more people in our doors and to get more people excited. So appreciate all the efforts that went behind the scenes from Downtown Columbus, Inc. And Franklinton Board of Trade. It's been a pleasure to be a part of, and we appreciate everyone's support, and thank you all for coming down. And normally I'd put up a beer and say cheers, but maybe afterwards. So thank you.
Thank you again, Adam, for hosting us, but more importantly, I think, for the work that you all do in the community. We talk about business from a revenue standpoint, but Land Grant is more than that. It's mission driven. It is an organization that is birthed and rooted in community, from partners like Latin Community House, who I know, I saw Travis Haywisher here, to so many other folks. So it's not just simply about how do we get folks to this establishment. It's about then what good can establishments like this do for our community. And we couldn't talk about a city center DORA without talking about Columbus's original birthplace and original neighborhood in Franklinton. So glad to see that connection across the river and excited for what is possible. For members of the public who are unfamiliar, designated outdoor refreshment areas, or DORAs as they're defined, are areas where adults, is a defined area where adults 21 plus can walk outdoors with one alcoholic beverage in a designated cup served by participating bars or restaurants. According to the Ohio Revised Code, a municipality with a population of more than 50,000, like Columbus, well over, is permitted to have up to 6 DORAs. While many of our suburban neighborhoods have established DORAs, there is only one currently in the city of Columbus, the Arena District, which is limited to days when events are taking place at any of the sports venues in the Arena District. DORAs create an amenity to residents and visitors of downtown, especially post-pandemic, as Adam just mentioned. They increase pedestrian activity and encourage those who come downtown to stay downtown, which in turn leads to greater economic impact for our region. This is a great way to activate key areas that don't currently have business attractions, like bars and restaurants, but have great walkability, like our riverfront, for example, or like here in Franklinton Square. Think about Franklinton Fridays, or Gravity and the Experience Park, and how this will be able to enhance that experience. DORAs are designed to enhance outdoor dining and provide better connectivity between downtown establishments and events, and also those around Franklinton. Due to all of these factors, DORAs can be a powerful economic development tool that tend to receive overwhelming support from businesses both old and new. I would like to pass the mic to our great partner, Amy Taylor, at the Downtown Columbus Inc. They just changed their name, folks. I'm trying to get used to it, okay? And want to thank her for all of her work and really spearheading this. And I just want to also say that Amy and her vision and their vision around this is, again, not just something about downtown, but our adjacent neighborhoods, but it is also about our competitiveness as a city. Hilliard, Westerville, so many of our other suburban partners that surround us already have these. And so in order for us to make sure that this next evolution of downtown and what's adjacent to it really sticks with the times and that we are competitive, this is something that I believe that is something that we have to do to ensure that downtown comes back and comes back in a mighty way. So with that, Amy, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, council member. Great to be here with my colleagues up here. The 3 logos up here are really important. This is the partners that are here. My colleague Megan Hurley is here. She's really been a leader from Downtown Columbus Inc. But I saw Mark Conte and Lisa from the CID, and Trent and Adam from the Franklinton Board of Trade and being a Franklinton established business. This, at least for us, I loved hearing Adam's origin story, but this for the Downtown Columbus Inc. organization came out of the 2022 strategic plan. It was something we worked very closely with Mayor Ginther, Councilmember Bankston, Council President Hardin, and the community. More than 2,000 people participated, and we got a lot of great comments, and they weren't just, hey, just make downtown better, or bring more people downtown. They actually, especially in this case, specifically said, we'd like you to bring a DORA. And I think that's one thing our suburban neighbors really helped us with. They have been, you can go to a DORA in Dublin or a DORA in Worthington or Hilliard or Grove City. And so I think people understood that there's a difference between a DORA and open container. And that's because they've been doing it in our own communities. But we didn't stop there in our research. We looked far and wide. We talked to people from Dayton all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina, because when we came to present this to our partners at the CID and Franklinton Board of Trade, as well as our partners at the city, we wanted to make sure we had been thoughtful in our approach and we had done some due diligence. That's how we got here. We talked to the Department of Development, Director Stevens, Assistant Deputy Director Harris, and city council and said, hey, we'd like to propose this DORA, this location, this kind of protocol. And that started in September when we came to the SID meeting and talked with them. We sort of had what I like to call a no holds bar, I'm going to stay as long as you have questions kind of conversation. And we got a lot out. In fact, it was really important that we did that first before we came to the community, because if we couldn't answer our partners' questions, we had no business being in front of you. We did a downtown residents presentation. We did community and business surveys. We worked with Mindy Justice and her team, and she was awesome. And then we did a special events organizers meeting sponsored through City of Columbus Rec and Parks. And then in January, we did a public meeting, and we were able to share some of this information and have a dialogue with the community. We also did a downtown properties owners presentation. We went to our board at Downtown Columbus Inc. and presented this, and there was a lot of support. And I'm not sure 10 years ago there would have been. I think we would have gotten a lot of, this is the bridge to nowhere kind of policy. Why do we care? There's not really something to connect to. But if you think about what's happening since the last time we did a strategic plan in 2010, the peninsula got built out. Establishments in Franklinton were really fruitful. And there's been infill development in the core. And all of a sudden, I happened to go to Spec today for lunch, but I'd love to be able to go to Spec for dinner, get a drink, walk across the Broad Street Bridge, end up at the Junto, and look at our great downtown skyline. And those connections, I think, are made easier to do when I can walk there with a one drink, and that's the important thing. I'm not going to go with double fisting it to do this. That is very clear in the law and will be very clear as part of the protocol.
You didn't tell me that.
And then, of course, we're ending today with our April public meeting. I want to talk a little bit about the survey. We had almost 400 responses, which Megan can gut check me on this. I was a bit surprised because we did it in November, and I thought, oh, are people really going to be engaged? But one thing I am constantly, even though I've been in this job 17 years, I'm constantly amazed that people really care what happens downtown. They may love us, they may hate us, but they have an opinion. And I think that's why we had almost 400 survey responses. 82% of those respondents believe the DORA would make them more likely to visit or stay longer. And I just want to highlight that for a second, because one of the things that we can get, and we can prove this now through placer data, it's no longer anecdotal, that people will come downtown, but sometimes their sole or single purposes. They'll come down and go to a Blue Jackets game and leave. They'll come down and go to a Columbus Commons concert and leave. They'll come down and go to the Nutcracker and leave. And one thing that we really liked about this comment is that the DORA might make them stay longer. And that's really what we want to have happen. On December 2nd, downtown hosted 100,000 people at 6 different events. But I'm not sure those people went to all the events, even though it's extremely walkable and we had a great weather day. And I think the DORA is one of the arrows in the quiver to start that extension. 83% of our respondents said that they were comfortable with the proposed DORA's boundaries and the operating hours. And I did some pull-out quotes here, but one thing I really liked is that I think that we didn't realize how important foot traffic was until we went through the past 4 years. And all of a sudden we realized if I'm downtown anyway and I am at Spec and I'm like, well, should I get in my car to drive over there or can I just walk over there? I'm going to see other things. I'm going to have a different experience downtown. Now, we need to deliver that with our partners at the Board of Trade and with the SID, that there's something interesting that you see on that journey. Equally, we have invested very heavily in the riverfront. And the riverfront, by its very nature, because Civic Center Drive was aptly named, no one could get flood insurance before the flood wall, and so it was taken over by civic uses. Besides Milestone, there's not a lot of places to get a drink. So now we can do a pop-up bar, or you can go to the establishments that are already there and get that drink and enjoy it along the riverfront responsibly. So there's a reason why it's not called the Downtown Columbus DORA. There's a reason why it's called the Center City DORA. And while we may know that Franklinton is considered an urban core neighborhood, it is technically outside the boundaries of downtown. We felt it was very important, as did our city partners, that this not be solely for downtown, that we really incorporate what people's experience is, and they are going to come to the peninsula and come over here, to Land Grant, and they are going to come to Land Grant and go over to the peninsula. Peninsula, the city has invested in 1,400 parking spaces. So if nothing else, that investment should be used differently. And we really felt that these neighborhoods, again, while we may know the distinction, very few patrons understand it. So it's the Center City DORA. These are the hours that we're proposing. This is what's gone through the rigorous process of public comment, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. I got asked the question, why are we actually having this so early? Why didn't we have staggered hours for brunch on weekends and a different DORA hours on the weekdays? And one of the things that we heard when we did our research, we also heard it when we talked to our city partners, and that was standardization is really important. It's hard to do enforcement when you're having to look at your card, like what day is that, does the hour start, what days don't they start? We heard it when we talked to Dayton, when we talked to Raleigh, when we talked to Dublin. We also heard it when we talked to the Arena District. And as the council member said, theirs are very hard to follow, which has made enforcement difficult to follow. So that's why we're proposing it. We also wanted to work very closely with our SID partners because we wanted it to be within the Capitol Crossroads SID district because they already do such a fantastic job with providing security and ambassadors. In the areas that are outside the SID, including the riverfront and the peninsula, Downtown Columbus Inc. takes care of that. And obviously, Trent has really led the way with the Franklinton SID to provide that security. So we wanted to be able to already have established security, so we didn't have to add that to a budget. And then this is some safety and security coverage. You can probably see it a little bit, but you can see that this was a thoughtful approach. And before I go on to the next slide, I do want to offer it up to Trent and Lisa. They're the security experts and a real thought leader and partner in this to see if I missed anything or there's anything you'd like to add.
I don't have much to add other than we have a team of ambassadors, uniformed ambassadors, and special duty officers that provide a reassuring presence and patrol the area that's in blue that you see up on the screen. And we, try to think of every worst case scenario and going into this, quite honestly, and I don't anticipate there's going to be any issues, but we're prepared to address any that may pop up. But we really view the DORA as an opportunity to positively activate the downtown streets, and including Franklinton. And, we anticipating being good partners, and if there's issues arise again, we can address them internally and or advocate with the Division of Police for extra support if need be.
And I would also say, it was mentioned a little earlier, but just having people being able to be on sidewalks and walking around and visiting other areas while they're having their drink, it doesn't mean that they come into an establishment and have to just sit there until they finish it. They can actively keep walking around, and that in and of itself creates security because you have more eyes on the street, you have more people present, you have more people, able to help if something is needed. And so the other thing I would say is that, we have the cleaning ambassadors as well. And, the litter mitigation is going to be something that we already do anyway. And we also believe that the participating establishments are going to be good stewards of making sure that they help with that as well, so that we can all just be rowing in the same direction and making sure this is as successful as possible. So thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And one thing I should mention, while we did get specific requests from the Downtown Strategic Plan, comments that suggested a DORA specifically, we also got a lot of comments that said over the past 20 years, we've done a good job as a downtown community with building key assets, Columbus Commons, Iota Mile, the riverfront, the addition to the museum, everything that's happening at Columbus State. But what we haven't done a good job of is connecting all of those. And this is one of those things to, as Trent said, put more people on the streets to be those eyes and ears. The rules are set by the state of Ohio. It's the Ohio Revised Code. One important thing I do want to mention out of these rules is that patrons may not carry beverages from one DORA to another, meaning that you can't purchase something in the Center City DORA and then walk to the Arena District. So we are going to have signage to help people know that. We also have worked with the event planners, and they'll have a say if they would like to participate in the DORA. So the Arts Council can go through it and say, you know what, I would like the DORA not activated during my event, and they just check that off. Or I would like the DORA activated in my purview during the event. So we're hoping that they'll take advantage of this. We think this could be a huge moneymaker for them, but we're not taking away their ability to set the own terms of their event. And that's, yeah, I already got to that. Management. So the DORA will be managed through our partnership with the Franklinton Board of Trade and the Special Improvement District, specifically Capitol Crossroads. Will be we established the managing LLC. So that has been established by us, and we'll serve as the liaison for the city, and the SIDS will, both the SIDS, Franklinton and the Capitol Crossroads, will manage the interactions with the participating businesses. So the SIDS are on the ground. They are dealing with, they know the folks at the establishments, they have a relationship, and they already have trust. So this was a way to divide and conquer, sort of that 1 + 1 = 4 instead of 1 + 1 = 2. This is the approval timeline. Our hope, we submitted the application to the city clerk. We're having the public hearing today. Our hope is that city council will review and approve this legislation, and then it will go through the state approval process, which we have been told once the city submits the real, that's the real review, is at the city, and the state just makes sure that we have done the form and all the protocols appropriately. Our hope is to launch this for summer season so that we can actually get it started and take advantage of all the things that we're working on. As I said, there is no silver bullet to getting people back downtown, but we think this is an important arrow in the quiver, and it's one that has, through empirical data, been successful in every place. I mean, in conversations with, again, our suburban communities as well as those who are outside of our area, they had nothing but positive things to say, and usually their one lesson learned is make it as big as you can and make it as long as you can, because that's where they've had to go back and almost look at the legislation again and go back to make modifications. It's been to expand it and make it more fruitful rather than to contract it. And so, council member, that I want to turn it over in case anyone on the panel has anything that I missed. I know I can talk quickly, but hopefully my enthusiasm shows. Great, then we'd like to turn it over to you for the next part of this process.
All right. Thank you for that presentation, and I think, just to reiterate, this is a process that is before council now. I am supportive of this as a council member, and I will encourage my colleagues, but this is a process that has been driven by the community and by community partners. So they have submitted the application and believe that this is something that will be positive for the center city. And as I stated in my opening remarks, again, a great opportunity for economic development for us. We're going to move into the next part of our public comments. As of today, by the deadline, we had received 3 requests for in-person testimony. We will take those speakers now. And actually, no, I'm going to pause because I know that my colleague has to leave early. Are there any questions at this point, council member, that you wanted to ask of Amy and the rest of our partners?
Yeah, and appreciate kind of the presentation because that was helpful. Some of my questions you were able to already answer, so that makes sense. I was curious, so, you know, I'm the chair of Public Utilities and Sustainability, so sustainability is a big deal to me. And so the idea of adding several more plastic cups to the community, is that a requirement of the DORA that it had to be plastic? Could we do aluminum cups? Is that an option, or?
I don't know if it was a requirement, but we are working with the city administration to make sure that the required cups that they are suggesting, we are working through that.
Gotcha.
So the city does have a say in the kind of cups it is. Aluminum, we priced it out. It is a bit pricey for that, but we want to be at the forefront of sustainability in this.
Thank you. I appreciate that already being under consideration, and I understand additional costs, but, you know, we all have one planet, so it's important for us to kind of take care of it now. The other was really around rideshare, right? So if we do have a DORA, people are drinking in public, do we have ideas around designated areas for rideshare vehicles, or are we just opening it up for anywhere?
I actually think that's a really good point, and actually much broader than the DORA. I think that downtown obviously was planned way before we were in this environment. So can I take that down and get back with you? Because I think that's a great point, especially along some of the less dense establishment areas like the riverfront, which I think we need to be responsive to anyway. So we will get back to you, council member. That's a great point.
And then, the rest of my questions you already kind of hit on, so I appreciate you giving that presentation, so thank you.
Thank you, council member. And again, if there's questions that come up after, wanted to make sure that you were able to get those in. So our first public speaker is Ms. Danielle Perry. Is Ms. Danielle here?
Yes, I'm here.
Danielle getting a drink, so.
Then the next speaker we have after her is Mr. Londell Towns Sr. Is Londell here? I don't see him. And then our last public speaker will be Mindy Justice. So Mindy, if you're ready, you can come on up. We'll just do it that way. We'll call it audible. And just for the record, just name any organization that you represent, and you do have it 3 minutes. And JP is back there, and he's a mean timekeeper.
Ooh, please do. Okay, so council members, panel, thank you so much for the time today. I am here today in my capacity as Vice President and Advocacy Chair for the Downtown Residents Association of Columbus, or DRAC. We are a civic association that is comprised of downtown residents and urban partners who care a lot about a healthy, livable, vibrant downtown neighborhood. I'm here today to voice support for the proposed Center City DORA, just to be clear. So downtown is everyone's neighborhood. We've heard this over and over again, and on any given day, we know that tourists visit, business travelers pop in and out, Ohioans activate their voice with state and local government, and one-of-a-kind arts and entertainment occurs. So people-centered initiatives like this add the livability element, the appeal, and the vibrancy to this special community that we call home. Downtown Columbus, Inc., thank you, brought DRAC members into the engagement process on the initiative with a dedicated presentation earlier in the year, which gave us time to listen, learn, ask questions, fill out the survey, etc. They did so as part of a regularly scheduled DRAC membership event, so I just want to make a note that you came to us, and with how busy life is, that's really appreciated. As you might expect, we had lots of questions around trash, safety, all the things. It's evident that they did their homework. We learned that other cities with similarly sized DORAs did not see an additional security incident attributable, uptick in attributable to the DORA itself. And so that helped us to understand that regardless of the details of the plan, that the research shows city to city, state to state, that's the generality. We also heard that additional trash receptacles will be an element of delivering the best and brightest product, and so that's something that needs worked out in the nuts and bolts going forward. And we heard that we were heard in that, so thank you, appreciate you. So just wanted to say again that we support, we'll keep an eye on the implementation plan, and are here to continue to be good partners in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, Mindy, and all the work that the Downtown Residents Association of Columbus does. Thank you. Councilmember, any questions for Mindy?
No, I didn't, thank you.
And then Ms. Danielle Perry. And then any organization you are representing, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, I am Danielle Perry, a Franklin County resident, so I don't represent any organization. I just saw the legislation. I thought that would be awesome for that area. You said it perfectly, so I don't think I could do better than that. It just gives us more options, and I know personally when I go downtown, it's in and out, kind of just like you said. I'm there for whatever it is, and then I'm going home or some other area. So it is nice to have that option in addition to the ones that are already available. So, and for me, as a lifetime Columbus resident, it's nice to see us grow up, and do things that we should be able to do, and have fun and have a chance to walk, like you said, rather than just sitting there, which is a lot of what's done. So that's it. I just wanted to share my comments and support. And so I can't wait until I can take advantage of that. So thanks.
Thank you for being here, Ms. Perry. You said you're a Columbus native?
Yes.
What high school?
Linda McKinley.
All right, go sit down.
Okay.
I'm an East High Tiger, y'all. I'm sorry. Y'all gotta see. She knows. You see how she looked at me after I said that? Yes, Ms. Taylor.
I wanted to really thank you for that. Everybody up here, we've drunk the Kool-Aid. We're so passionate about downtown, and I think one of the things, or downtown in Franklinton and our center city, and one thing that's really important is for other people to hear someone who is not dealing with it every day, but is a lifelong resident and caring about our community, and I really appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Yes, thank you again to all of our speakers. I will say that we are still, again, taking this up, so if those that are watching, or if you have comments, we will still take those for or against. I will say that Mr. Towns was here to speak. He did submit written testimony, so that will be in the record for us as well. But you can submit that to my office, in my legislative aide, JP Dorval, at jpdorval@columbus.gov. I do have a couple of questions that I just want to make sure that they clarify.
Yeah.
So speaking of both the 386 surveys around the DORA, and then when we did the strategic plan, over 2,000 folks that engaged, could you just broadly talk about the geography? Where did those surveys come from? Were they all just downtown folks, or was it folks from all across the community?
No, they were folks from all across the community. And the interesting part is some of our most passionate supporters are the ones who don't live close, and some of our most vocal critics are the ones who do. And so we had to be open to what everybody had to say, especially with the downtown strategic plan, because the critics weren't saying, we hate everything about downtown. They're saying, we think we have room to grow. We have room to grow up. And that's why we took it seriously. And the previous plans said a lot about capital, and this said a lot about people. And then, Megan, I'm just going to look at you and make sure that I'm correct. When I looked at where our surveys came from, it was representative mainly of Columbus, but it was representative of all the neighborhoods that represent Columbus.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I just want to make sure, because I
Yeah.
think that sometimes when we have these conversations and we're talking about our city center, that folks think it's just relegated to folks that only work down here or live down here, but I'm a firm believer, it's cliche, but it is true. Downtown is everyone's neighborhood, and so to have input from the entire city and region is important. One thing I just wanted to lift up to is you talked about participating locations. I want to underscore that a little bit, right? That it's not every single place that you see.
Yeah.
These are folks that are raising their hand to participate. So could you just highlight a little bit about that, and then also touch on the operating hours? So we talked about the operating hours of the actual DORA. That doesn't affect our participating locations' hours. Is that correct?
Great point. So I'm going to just go to that part of the slide so I can make sure that let's see, is it there? No, did I pass it? That's it. So you can see on this map, you can see that the DORA itself is 0.62 square miles. It incorporates from 4th Street going all the way west to Gift, with some, narrowing in. And you can see on there all the establishments that are permit holders, whether it's food, beverage, or entertainment, and then they would have the opportunity to participate with the DORA. And if they choose to participate, they're also signing up for all the rules that the DORA requires. So again, we went over those state rules. They're non-negotiable. We also have the opportunity if someone wants to be part of the DORA, but they're not following those rules, and that's where our SID partners, both Franklinton and Capitol Crossroads, are going to help us go to them and say, this seems to not be working, and we need you to follow the rules, or we would be allowed, even if there were within the perimeter, to pull that obligation away.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. And then, go ahead, Councilman.
My apologies, just a follow-up on that. In terms of understanding who's the rule breaker, like how do you determine to kind of track that? Like if I get a cup from one location and I'm somewhere else, how will you determine?
Well,
That goes-
and I won't speak for you guys unless let me just tell what we learned from other SIDs and then other DORAs, and you pop in. That has to be a communication. That's one of the reasons that having organizations that understand and know the people who are running these, that can go in and talk with them about what seems to be happening, that's the important part. The bigger thing I think that we heard just as the one thing you have to be aware of is to not sell the DORA cup after the DORA is done, even if you're open. And so that's one of the things that I think we'll just want to be mindful of, and that'll be partial relationship and partial enforcement. But Lisa and Trent, who are much more on the ground, did I miss anything?
Yeah, I think I would just add that I think we're going to be able to figure out if we have a bad actor participating establishment. Everybody wants this to be successful. Somebody acting in bad faith is going to just jeopardize the whole thing. So I think that we will have a lot of ability to recognize those problems pretty quickly. And then, you know, like she said, tell them that you're either going to follow the rules or we're going to revoke the privilege. And by doing that, we would basically just take all of their DORA stickers and, you know, whatever else they need to operate it away. And the sign comes off the door and they're no longer participating. So, and I want to stress that we're going to be really looking for compliance, because it's important that we do that, because we promised the community that if we do this, we're going to make sure it works well. And so we're all really vested in making sure that works.
And I think the fact that the DORA wraps up at 10 p.m. every night, that's a good thing. If we were wrapping things up at 2 a.m., I think I'd have a little more angst around that. So my guess is that people are going to be very responsible. If they screw up a little bit, it's going to be because they just weren't sure what they were supposed to do with that cup or whatever the case might be, and that's how we'll treat it initially, of course. And yeah, I don't think we're going to see like what we could potentially see at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning. So I think these are people that want to stroll around, they want to talk, they want to connect with their neighbors or other folks downtown and go along the riverfront. So yeah, I'm optimistic that there'll be pretty few issues.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, and it actually generated a question in my head. So when we talk about the operating hours of the DORA, are the time at 10 p.m., is that the last time an establishment can sell a cup, or is that the time that all cups have to be out of your hand, for instance, if I'm walking down the street?
It technically should be both, but we would hope that the enforcement at 10:05 is a little different than the enforcement at 10:30 and 11.
Got it.
Yeah, the important thing there is they can only buy one drink at a time.
Yes.
So it's not like they can say, hey, it's 9:58, I'm going to buy 4 drinks and walk outside. Yeah.
Got it. And
Try that, Nick.
I won't try. I will say with these hours, they're perfect for me. In my younger days, I was actually going out at 10 p.m. So now I'm in the bed probably by 10 p.m. But anyway, and then I just want to underscore this too. We have a DORA currently in Columbus. There's also, again, around our region. And Deputy Director, maybe you can speak to this. Amy, you probably can as well, or anyone else could chime in. Have we seen any security issues, police or non-police related, in any of the doors, or let's just say specifically Arena District, that would give us pause or hesitation around this?
No, we have not had any instances, a lot less days. Only occurs on game days in the Arena District, but no, we have not.
Okay. That's the most straightforward answer you get out of a government person, so there you go. I will pause there, and because it is an intimate setting, I'm going to call it audible. JP's going to yell at me later, but it's fine. I just want to lift up anyone in the audience who want to give comment or commentary. Blake, I see you. Now, because I'm calling it audible, don't take all 3 minutes.
Blake Compton, I'm not representing Compton Construction right now, Franklinton Arts District Vice President. Just interested in how the DORA will work with F2 permits for nonprofits. So I didn't really hear that talked about today.
I probably sped through it during my special event comment. This special event, the F2 permit, will have the opportunity to opt in to be part of the DORA, meaning they could also sell DORA cups and people could leave their perimeter, or they could opt out, and that means they would not sell DORA cups and DORA cups would not come in.
Awesome. Thank you. Also, personal resident thing, how are we investing in our sidewalks with this? Because we're going to be having people walk around. It'd be really nice to have really nice sidewalks in all of our neighborhoods.
Thank you. Yeah. No,
Don't drop that bomb.
yeah, just drop it and walk away. Well, I agree with that, and I do think that it is an impetus for us, right, to take our public infrastructure to the next level to make sure that it is a more walkable experience. That is a part also of the 2022 Downtown Strategic Plan. It's something that we're looking at. My colleague, Councilmember Rosa De Padilla, is actually out right now on a e-bike ride. And if she was here, she would say that the answer to that is also Link Us, which we hope to go to the voters for later this year. Because we talk about Link Us from a bus rapid transit standpoint, but it's really the transportation-oriented infrastructure improvement that go along with it, right? So it's not just about the bus stop, but to your point, it's about the sidewalks. How do you get to the bus stop? And so it's more than just our corridors, but it's really investment in that walkable, bikeable infrastructure. And so what's proposed right now in Link Us is over $60 million a year, right, in infrastructure, transportation-supported infrastructure improvements. And so hopefully that in combination with the city, other cities' commitment and other really private sector partners' commitments as well to help improve the walkability. But you're absolutely right that this gives us that leverage and an opportunity to make it happen much quicker.
Hi, Adam Friedman, not prepared to speak today. General question. Personally, I'm in support of this. I think all your points are salient, and it would be the reasons why I stick around for an event. If there's an extra time to hang around and be entertained, why not? My question is, looking at the map, what were the parameters that were used to determine for consideration of the boundary lines? For instance, going south past Mound, was Brewery District considered? Any of the other neighborhoods that surround that area? You know, what was taken into consideration for that?
Some, and Quentin, you jump in, because in a lot of this was a dialogue with the city partners. Some was a consideration within downtown and Franklinton for where we already had security. So Capitol Crossroads felt that this boundary was something that they were already providing, and what was outside the boundary, either Franklinton Board of Trade or DCI was providing. So it also married with some key establishments. We did discuss that 4th Street, and we really encouraged and were thrilled that the SID board, when I talked about having that sort of no holds barred meeting, one of the things we really wanted was Wolf's Ridge, Jackie O's, Pins, and that was something that the SID really looked at, so they were methodical and thoughtful. So that's how we got this kind of a boundary. Trent did the same thing on Gift Street, and that's why we ended up here. To go too far out, there is a limit on how big a DORA can be. And so the good part is the state now allows 6 for a city. So if the Brewery District, German Village, or Short North, any of those want to come to the city, I think that would be appropriate. And one of the things that we want to do is showcase a pilot of how it can be done, because I do think the Arena District, while applicable, is not directly applicable.
Sure, thank you.
I hope that answered it.
That did, thank you.
John, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Todd Bowen with the Ohio Restaurant and Hospitality Association. I just want to say thank you guys for doing this. Like, it is really awesome. As the legislature expanded DORAs, which we and so many others pushed for, this was exactly the sort of thing that these are designed for. We know how much hospitality businesses bring vibrancy and vitality to communities, and to do this downtown and to do it expansively is really awesome, and appreciate, you know, how forward-looking you guys are in doing this. So thank you.
Yeah. I don't think we could have made the case if the city genuinely only got 2.
Absolutely,
And
and the
I really
6
appreciate that.
makes a huge difference.
It makes a
100%.
huge difference.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Last call. That is not a pun. It's actually, wow, I walked right into that one. That's such a dad. That's a dad joke, right? That was a dad joke. All right, well, again, thank you all for being here. And again, want to thank my staff and my team for putting this on. So JP Dorval, Jonathan Brown, I see Naya in our communications office, as well as our friends at CTV for always being here and providing their efforts. This is not, does not have a first read yet, so please stick with us at City Council as we work through that. It will get a first reading and passage. Again, you saw the timeline, so I think we are targeting to try to have this to the legislator and approved by May before the start of summer. So it will move pretty quickly, but again, still taking comment. Once again, I want to thank all of our city partners who were here, as well as, again, a special thank you to Land Grant for hosting us, Adam, and I think I saw Walt. Walt, are you here? Did I see you? Okay, he doesn't want to, oh, there he is, okay. Yeah, I thought I saw him. I thought I saw him over here, now he's moved over there. So thank you again to Adam and Walt and the team at Land Grant for hosting us. As Amy mentioned, council will review and vote on this within the next 2 months, so please keep an eye out again on council social media pages as well as our website for when this will make it to the agenda. Council member, any last closing remarks from you?
No, I will just say thank you again for all the work in putting this together, and obviously the panel for answering questions. Obviously, I was aware of the DORA, but I had a couple questions coming in, and you guys kind of hit it out the park. So appreciate you taking the time, and thank you everyone for coming. I mean, it's important that residents engage in the process because that's what representative government looks like. So thank you.
Thank you again, Councilmember. And again, I want to shout out my Vice Chair of Economic Development and Small Minority Business, Councilmember Lourdes Barroso de Padilla, who could not be here. She told me she was going to e-bike down here, but we wrapped up before she could get here. So again, we will consider this hearing adjourned, and thank you all for coming. Have a great evening.
I'll move first.